Wee, what's going on YouTube? It's Donnie B all day. Don't forget, get off your high horse. That's right, everybody, just relax. So, I had no ideas, no plans, no anything about doing a video today. So, you guys have to thank old Scabber at Choir Boys with Z Cutlery for this one, because he wrote me and he was like, dude, what's your plans for today for a knife review? And I said, really don't think you know what's funny is when I do knife reviews, I don't pre-plan it. I don't set things up for the knife I'm about to review. I have no idea in the beginning of the day what I'm going to be reviewing, or even if it's going to be a knife. I have, like when I did yesterday I did the Shuriken Chinese star video. I just happened to look over, I saw the Chinese star sitting there, and I said, let's go do a video. And sometimes I'll think about something and I'll say, oh, I want to do a video on this, and then I'll go to grab it and I'll see a different one and go, but I'll do this instead. So I never really know. It's not something I planned. But today we're opening a buck box. And the reason we're doing this is because, Scab asked me, and I said, oh, I really had no plans, no intentions on doing a knife review. And I have no thought about what knife I want to do next. And then I said, but I do have this buck that I just picked up that I really want to get to. So today we're going to get to it. It's got a pretty big name, depending on what you call it. Let's see. It's the GCK ground combat knife. And I know there's like some kind of 891, I think it is. The Buck 891. That's what it is. The Buck 891 ground combat knife. GCK. Duh. Dropped it, caught it by the strap. I saw this and I thought, well, damn. Yeah, I just needed it. So this is one I have. Before I get into this, let me tell you something. This community, we started getting really, really good. And back when I started a few years ago, there was no knife community, you know what I mean? It kind of like really kicked off when I met Cowboy Sebop, and he would watch my channel and he became a fan of the channel, and then we talked about things and him doing some knives, and then he would ask me questions and advice and different things, and then he took off. And Cowboy Sebop's great. I freaking love Cowboy Sebop. He's my man, my brother from another mother. So after that, like, things started just like getting huge, right? And I started thinking about it the other day. I have never once, not one time, gotten a shout out from somebody who has more subscribers than me. Like, I subscribe to a lot of the smaller channels and try and help them get bigger, because I think everybody should catch up to where I'm at and then keep going. Let us all keep going together. I'm not one of those, oh, I need to be above somebody. No, because we're all doing the same damn thing. And I learned some things from some of you guys, and just the same as you might learn something from me. Just like after the Chinese stars, this one guy, really cool guy, he was showing me how he makes his stars. Like, I used to make them out of saw blades, right? But he uses bicycle sprockets. And I was like, that's awesome, because the star shape is already there. You just have to cut off the ring and sharpen it. I was like, boom. So I might have to get a few and make some. So I thought that was really cool. But it's just stuff like that. It's stuff like that I love, because we get together, and when our minds meld, you know what I mean? We might find you could learn something watching the shredder. This 9-year-old kid could teach you something you had no idea about, just because he happened to come across it before you did. And that's a lot of what it is. It's not somebody knowing more than somebody else. It's one person finding out the information before you did. And that doesn't make you dumb or them a genius. That just means they got to it first. You know what I mean? If we started running to a box of donuts and there was only one glazed and I grabbed it, I'm not Mr. Glazed. I just got there first. You know what I mean? So that's stupid, but you know what I mean. So I've never gotten a shout out from anyone with more subscribers than me. And I thought that was kind of, well, weird and sad in a way. You greedy bastards. All right, so let's get into this guy right here. The sheath, we'll get into this first. It's a mixed material sheath, and it reminds me a lot of, I don't have it right now because Joe M, the master knife maker, has my combat knife that I deployed with. He's got my Gerber LMF Infantry 2 because he wanted to play with it. And I can tell you that it's built pretty much the same way, where you have this like plastic Kydex type sheath with these straps that go onto a MOLLE pouch. So you can take this off all by itself and carry it singularly. And that's what I did, is I ended up cutting my my Gerber sheath because I like it to be a high rise. I cut out some of these spaces for a belt loop, and I just ride it with the single plastic piece with nothing else attached to it. This one I'm going to leave as it is because this isn't something I'm carrying in combat. In combat, I wanted to be able to pop, because if I needed it, if you're in close quarter combat, you don't want to reach too far away from your body, because now you're removing a guard, you're removing defense. So the closest I could have my hand, boom, I wanted that knife. And I'll show you, like here on the belt, it would sit down here. So if my guard is here, I have to drop down here and pull, where the Gerber was here. So I was able to maintain my guard and get it out quick. And I needed it. So at one point I really needed it, and it was good to be able to get it out fast. So it's just something like that that's really, really good. And it's nice to have the ability to be able to separate it. You have tons of MOLLE attachments. You have water drainage, which I really, really like, especially in a combat knife situation, because if you have to trudge or wade through water or completely submerge, you are going to want the water to drain out because you don't want it sitting on your steel. So you have cordage. You have plenty of cordage, as a matter of fact. And I have to say, this is built really well. You have a single strap for the handle. Little toggle guy right there, and this thing is good. You can take it on and off without having to take it on and off. Your belt, you can just velcro it. It's done really well. I like the sheath. I like the sheath. All right, so let's get into, I saw it and I said, it's me. That thing is all me. A little bit of Buck USA right there. What is that, the 891? Yeah, 891. It's backwards for me, so I had to look at it. Let's see right there. And what do we have? 5160. As you'll know, I use a lot of 5160 in my D-bag knives because I trust it. It is strong as hell. What are we looking at? So product level is pro, which means this is among their top of the line stuff. This is one of the top of the line Buck knives. We have a blade length of just under 6 inches. It is 5.50, which makes it 5.5, not just under 6. We have a handle length of 5.25 inches, just under 6. We have an overall length of 10.75 inches, just under 6. And 5160 blade thickness is 0.200. It is a spear point. The finish is a gray, I think they called it, but it's like tan with gray scales. And it is Cerakote. So it's a tan Cerakote with G10 and da. I think that's it. I think that's it for specs. It's all we need to know. What we need to know outside of this is, does it work? And I have to say that as far as comfortable, grab and hold, this thing is built well. I want to give you some close-up of this grip. Look how well this is done. This is a grip that is small, but it gets you in nice and tight. My fingers are collapsing inside my palm, but you can see where this one rides right there, and I have giant hands. It is well contoured, it is well made, it is well shaped, and it is well gripped. As far as texturing, it's beautiful. It is true full tang. You do have a strap hold there. You have a little Picasso with no choil, but it's not needed because you have like this choil right here, which you can choke up on. There's no jimping, unneeded. You go right from thick spine to a long, and I mean long swedge. Now, this is where they make it really, really good. You'll see that the swedge, it's cut out for weight and for penetration ability, but right here, the swedge gets thin and then it gets thick right at the tip. What does that do? You're thinking, well, how's that going to be good for penetration because your swedge just went tip? This is mainly for weight reduction right here. It's combat. So you want the right weight in the right place. You want it to be equal weighted. You don't want it too heavy in the rear. And just like that, let's grab the 4max and do it the right way. So our balance point, you can see that it is not heavy in the rear. Boom. It's behind the front lug right here, this front pin, and that is great. Again, I say it all the time. You have your K-bar USMC, the K-bar utility knife, where the weight is all rear and there's nothing in the front. Makes it a bad fighting knife. Great utility, a great hunting knife. The K-bar utility, I will say this because I down it all the time. It is one of my favorite hunting knives. It's like the Buck 119, only better as far as hunting knife. Combat knife, no, it's not. All right, so you can see that it has this beautiful hump right here with this nice dip right here. That is another grip point for the thumb. You can literally lock your thumb into this little notch right there, and you have some really, really nice tight work. Reverse grip is crazy, crazy comfortable. Everything about this so far is just right. Is it sharp? Yep. Wow, I just took off way too much hair. That is going to look stupid. All right, so it is super, super duper razor sharp. You know, we all have our tests. Scab has got this great test where he takes paper and he folds it and stands it up and just goes, shh. I don't cut paper really with knives. It's not my thing. I take off arm hair. Some guys don't have a lot of arm hair, so it doesn't really work. And some guys are smarter than me to where they realize if you shave a patch of hair on your arm and you're wearing short sleeves, you're walking around the rest of the day with a bald spot on one arm only. So Scab might be on something with that paper test, but it is razor freaking sharp. I absolutely love the in and out for weight. Reduces it in the center of the blade, puts more weight and strength in the tip of the blade. Now, why that really matters is putting the weight here rather than here is because thrusting and all that is going to be good. You don't have to worry about where the weight is on a blade when you're going this way. The weight means nothing. You can have all the weight here. You can have all the weight here. Thrusting is thrusting. It's coming down. It's a slash. You want, when I'm putting my thumb here, boom, that little flick right there. My arm isn't doing all the work. My arm is getting me to the point. It's once I get to that point, what's going to happen? So if I don't flick and I hit it, that happens, right? But same thing with a little flick at the end, and that happens. It goes right through, right? So just using that little boom motion at the end is going to take that tip and it's going to push and dig it. And I dig it. But that's what the weight in the front is for. You want all your weight in a fighting knife to be right here, right before the tip, but not on the tip. You know what I mean? You want that sweet belly. And when you don't have a belly, because this is almost dagger style, right? It's almost the same shape as dagger. Because it has a reduction here and there's no mass, they put it right here. It's really freaking smart. So let's go out and see what this thing can do. And remember, we don't have anybody who volunteered to be a combat dummy, so we're not going to be able to like cut anybody up out there. So you think, well, if it's a combat knife and not a survival knife, what's the point? What are you gonna test it on? And I like to do all my tests to where if you were out and this happened to be the only knife on you and you got into a situation where you needed that survival knife, is any knife in your pocket, any knife that you have on you, going to be able to carry some of those deeds and take care of some of those issues? And if your knife can't do the basic things, then you might want to choose a different knife. So if I get stuck somewhere with this knife, I know, yeah, I can self-defend with it against, and here's another thing with self-defense. When I say self-defense, it's very rare that self-defense comes with a person. I mean, somebody breaks in your house, okay, use it. Somebody tries to attack you, tries to rob you. And in today's day and age, we are getting a lot of that. Yeah, you have a knife to defend yourself with, but I'm going to ask you this question. How many times a week does that happen to you? Exactly, right? Not that much. So basically, I have been on walks and just going down the street where I've had animals come at me, like dogs, more than people. And I'll tell you what, man, if it comes down to needing to defend myself against an animal, I have no problems using a knife. I'm in the woods a lot. We hike a lot. We go on, we do a lot of nature walks and things like that. We do a lot of mountain walks. Out there's a lot of critters. You got bear and you got different things out there where something is better than nothing. And people say, oh, bear, blah, blah, blah. What are you going to do with a knife? You got to remember, a guy took a buck 110, a little folding buck 110, and killed a grizzly bear. A grizzly bear with a 110, fighting tooth and nail to defend his own life. He was messed up. He was full of scratches. He needed some stitches here and there. And it's happened more than once. It was actually 2 accounts where somebody with a buck 110, small folding knife, survived a bear attack and actually killed a bear. So something this size, I have a little bit more confidence, especially out here. We have a ton of black bear, which are no joke, believe me, but they're smaller than a grizzly. So if I really had to defend myself against a bear, I would rather this than nothing at all. So that's why we carry knives in the woods, not just for fire making and not just for, cutting open a fish, but just in case things go south, you want to make sure you can go a little bit north. All right, so we're going to go out and take care of this. All right, so here we are at the Stump. This thing is gorgeous, man. This is one sweet knife. I want to give you a really good look in the sun here. Oh, look at this knife, man. When I saw it, I was all freaking in. All right, so balance is important on a combat knife. And so what I want to do is a few 4-foot drops, the 4 feet being from tip to stump. And even with it a little bit windy out here, I have confidence in this knife that we are going to, I think that was user error, just as I say something. There we go. It's dropping pretty good. You can see it leading a little. It's got those scales, but it's dropping pretty good. It's going frontwards. So now we're going to do a couple hard downward throws. We're going to test how well these scales are on. They are removable. You can see there's a star bit there. So we'll see how tight they are, and it will let us know if we're going to get any kind of tip damage. Where this tip, now that we're out here, you could probably see it a little better. Look how they build the tip. This thing is built all tip strong. But hard downward throws, especially hitting something like this, you can bend. I've done it with other knives. You can put little tiny bends in the tip. So this is what we're going to test right now. Oh my gosh, I wound up on that one. Wound up. That is pretty damn good. All right, so a couple of hard downward stabs. And for the same thing, we want to test a bite, which it got a lot of, and tip strength. So what I'm going to do now, oh, you hear that cracking? That's the wood. You can see, man, it's so deep that it's, look at that. I was up there, man. That's pretty darn good. All right, so any tip damage? No, this thing is built like a tank, and it's 5160, which I absolutely love. I know it's shave sharp for hairs. Let's see if it's push cut sharp for thick nylon rope. Now we have, oh my God, that was easy. I barely, guys, I I can't even tell you what little amount of power I needed to get through all that. That was absolutely insane. Holy crap. I went to push and it already started pushing straight through. Roscoe! Hold on a second. Damn dog gonna be the death of me. All right, so let's do some kitchen prep type stuff. I'm gonna hold way back here, do some do some little chopping, and boom through the thick stuff. Man, I really like the way this feels. I really like it. Let's take a little bit of something like this. A little bit of something like this. Is nice and wet too. It's gonna be very sappy, very wet. I have no worries hitting the tip of this guy because of how fat that tip is. Look at that, man. Look at that, man. Dropped it. Drop my club. Man, this thing is sweet, guys. So it's a combat knife, but here I am, I'm out in the woods, and I need to make a fire. I need some kindling. Well, ta-da! This thing is gonna do the job. This thing is gonna do the job. Let's see if we can make some paper thin. Oh yeah, that is so nice. Look at this. That is so thin. That is a sweet razor's edge right there. Whew-wee. Let's get a little bit more now. We'll just do a full shave. Get right down to the wood without taking any chunks. See how smooth that is? When you're talking about making things like food sticks or walking sticks, something where you don't want to splinter, you want something smooth, being able to just cut off that bark to make a nice handhold without digging into the wood so you could splinter. Oh, that is so important. Making spears, things like, it's just so good, especially arrows. If you're doing your own homemade arrows, you want a nice smooth texture for right flight. That is very nice. Let's see, we'll do some push cutting for feather sticking, and they're falling off because it's so sharp. As I get to the end, they're just going. Trying so hard to keep it on there. But man, this thing is smooth, butter silk smooth, and they are just cruising. So, feathers pushing. Let's do feathers pulling. Controlled pulls. Oh, golly. Those are so thin. Man, that is... Baby, you can light my fire thin. I'm trying to go slow here because this knife is so sharp when I get to the end. It's just taking them right off. But you can see how nice and tight those curls are right there. So now let's do some drags, because there's always another way to do it. Let's see. Here we go. This is where you get some really nice thin papery-like feathers right there. Golly, man, this thing will light so nice. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to cut that off. I'm going to leave it because I'm going to light with it later. Right now, oh my gosh, this was better than I thought it was going to be. Being so thin, I didn't know I was gonna go through the wood as easy as this part is doing. But again, you're making spears, you're making arrows, you're making tent spikes, you're making pit spikes, you're making something to hold your hot dog on. Marshmallow roasters, anything. You want to be able to put a tip on a stick. And of course, like I tell you all the time, chopping a tip is so much less energy, takes so much less energy than sitting and carving a stick. It's going to take less time. So just by simple downward shots, you get the meat off. And then once the meat is off, that's when you start your actual carving, your precision carving. And I'm with the thumb holds on this, I have no doubts the precision carving is going to be nice and easy. This takes, especially when you're out in the woods and you have limited food, limited water, you want to take a little bit as stress as you can on your body. You want less exertion. Gosh, this is nice. So by having less to do of this to get it down that far. Because think about how long it would take to do it like this on something this thick. You know, oh my gosh, it is so nice. It is so nice. This thing is awesome, man. Couple of those in a pit, something walks by, that critter is dead. All right, so look at all this, all that. That's how you get a fire started, man. Whoo-wee. All right, so that, guys, is pretty darn good. Let's see, Roscoe's over there doing something he's probably not supposed to do. That dude is like just four-legged trouble. He's trouble with a tail. That's what he is. Hey, what are you doing, boy? All right, so I got a couple. You're gonna notice in my yard I got a bunch of this stuff. I broke my mower, and I'm waiting for some new parts to come in. So until they come in, I get all these weird long patches of growth. I want to take just a slash and see if I can't knock some of that down. Look at that. That's nice. It made a path. That's pretty sweet. All right, so that's not why we're here though. I see you over there, boy. All right, so here we have the basketball. This isn't leather, this is thick rubber, right? But we are going to just, oh gosh. Look at that, man. It is so freaking butter smooth. I am loving this. We need leather because what happens if you're in a bind and you need to do some skinning? Well, animals are made of leather. That's what we are. So let's take this leather ball right here and see if we can't push and pull. So are we going to be able to open up leather and skin with this? Without a freaking doubt. That was actually pretty simple. Pretty simple. All right, so a couple things left. What we want to do is we want to do the drag on the plastic netting test. Now, I'm going to show you, hopefully it shows up. On the edge here, it is literally sap coated. You can see it. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. I'll put this down. You can see how it's glistening right here. I hope you can pick that up. I can't see inside the camera, so I'm just going to guess that you can, but it is really coated in crapola. So what we're going to do is hope that even coated in crap that we can rip through this. You've seen me fail with other knives. Let's see if we're going to fail with this one. Let's see, we got you in? Yeah. Oh gosh, straight through it all. I mean, we have watched a few knives, I think 3 knives to be exact, fail on that very same test, that stupid, simple test. Not this one. All right, so let's do this. Let's do this. Let's get you guys right here. I'm gonna raise it up a little bit, and I'm gonna make you guys sit and watch, and you're like, oh my God, it's great. This movie's 6 hours long because this movie, this video is 6 hours long because he's not prepared. Correct. All right, let's see. Let's get rid of that. Let's do some chopping. Wow. All right, so I had no idea that this was gonna be a good chopper. I had no idea. And I'm holding it down low, and even though it's got that thin torpedo looking grip right there, it's gonna hold because of the grip, just the grip alone. Wow. Holy mackerel. I really hope the camera is picking up the hole that this thing just made. I'm even chopping with my thumb on top, which I never do because it slows down momentum, and it's still breezing through. Yo, Adrian, we did it. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. You guys are falling out of this. All right, so what's left? Let's try this in the cardboard. Let's try this in the cardboard, my Chinese star cardboard. Let's see. Oh my God. Oh my God. That was so unbelievably nice. First try, Mama Shredder. Oh, I missed the cardboard, but I was aiming right here. Wow. All right, that thing throws like a champ. That thing throws like a, oh, it's actually right here where we threw it. So you can see, whoop, holy crap. Let's try it while I hold you guys. All right, this might be one of my new favorite throwers. Speaking of throwers, we're finally starting to make a little headway on some Twisted Mr. knives. And I was talking to Joe M, and I said, Joe, I said, I got an idea. I said, I want to make a competition, because I throw every video. You guys see me throw whatever I make. I want to do a professional competition thrower, 12 inches long, 7-inch blade, 1/4-inch thick throwing knife, a complete D-bad thrower. I want to do it in 1084 steel with a really good heat treat. And I have a piece inside that I'd already drawn, mapped out. So he's got to cut it out eventually and then start grinding. But you might just be seeing a D-bad pro comp thrower, which would make me happy because I love throwing. But I designed the blade in a way where you would have this. It would actually be a leaf shape, right? So it would be a leaf shape with a full edge, not just a short edge for a throwing tip, but a full edge with maybe a 3-inch cutback swedge this way, with a secondary edge for about like the 3-inch cut. That way it would be amazing piercing. But just like I always say, what if it's the only knife you have on you? But that's what I'm thinking about doing, is starting to do some pro comp throwers, something that would be heavy enough to where if you throw it, it's going to hit like an absolute brick. It'll hit like a ton, but it'll be well enough to where you can actually control it. So I'm going over all the molding in my head and on the steel itself. I'm drawing it out, because when I draw a knife, I need it to be aesthetically pleasing, but it has to be like perfect for what its intent. And that's what I do. I design knives per intent. So that's what we're talking about. But this one right here, what was it, the 891? Is that what it's called? The 891. This has got a little plus on the end of it. I don't know if that means it's an 891 plus. Maybe they make a weaker version or something, and this is the pro. This is their top of the line stuff. I gotta say, man, when you see that little fire symbol with the BOS right there, you're pretty much guaranteed that this is like, that's their stuff. Whenever you see that little mark, it's usually on their like S30VNs and this and that. Man, this knife is abso-freaking-lutely worth buying. The ground combat knife, I think it's called, or something like that. We're just going to call it the 891. This is freaking awesome. Absolutely love it. I think we finally killed the big guy. He's just laying down over there. All right, that's it for this one. I am Donnie B all day. Until next knife.